What's up out there? We have a lot to cover today. This has been a very busy week. I have a lot of build updates for basically everything that I have, pretty much. Starting off, I have a new build. This is another Bone Shatter build, but this one is built around Bone Shatter of Carnage. Now, I put a video out here a few days ago talking about whether the league was good or bad or not, and I showed off a build in that video, and this is a sort of a replica of that build. It's not exact, it's not perfect, it's got a long way to go, and I just got this thing through the campaign today. I spent a couple of days through the week getting it through the campaign, and then I finished it off today because I was missing one key component. So if you look at Bone Shatter of Carnage, it says that this thing doubles stun duration. And for some reason, that got stuck in my head that I needed to use mauls and maces because those deal with stun. What I did not catch is that the build, and this is not following a build guide, this is basically just putting together somebody's PoE ninja and going from there. I know it's not perfect. I know that's like the least ideal thing you can do, but I figured this was close enough to Bone Shatter that I could kind of sort of make it work. What I didn't realize, and this is a very big rookie mistake, this thing revolves around this Pillar of the Cage God Iron Staff, which gives you 1% increased area of effect per 20 intelligence, 1% increased attack speed per 10 dex, and 1% increased physical weapon damage per 10 strength. So what you really want to be doing is stacking like all your attributes and stuff like that. And I need to go back and really revisit the PoE Ninja build. I got all the way to act like 8 or so with the maul idea, and it was working fine. Everything seemed okay. But then I re-looked at it because I noticed my damage was really starting to tank off in like Act 9 or something like that. And that's when I looked at it, I'm like, oh, I'm not even using the right weapon. So I had to actually go farm this weapon up. I do have one now. I was worried that it was going to be some uncommon drop or something like that. So I went and looked at my regular SSF and regular standard account, and I had one in each, so I thought, well, it must not be that hard to find. So what I did is I juiced up a couple of tier 1 maps today and ran through it with my other Bone Shatter build, found this, and here we are. So there's a long way to go with this. Like, I don't have any implicits on anything, and I need to actually get this gear leveled. Like, this is really low item level. This chest piece is not. But the rest of this stuff basically is things that I picked up in the campaign. Now, the thing that I did differently with this is normally I would run with all uniques through the campaign throughout the whole thing. And I started off that way, but somewhere in Act 2, 3, 4, somewhere in there, I started switching over to actual gear in the game. So like not just unique stuff that had better stats and everything or whatever. I actually switched over to like whatever these gloves are. These are higher level, but like this, the helmet, the ring, well, the rings might be stuff that I had, but these boots are item level 27. So a lot of this stuff came from like earlier in the game, like this belt, item level 44. Some of this stuff came early on, and I basically just crafted everything up to whatever fit. My flasks aren't very good. I do have really good resistances, decent resistances. These were way better before I took that 30% hit at the end of the campaign. So obviously I wasn't running one of those elemental flasks. So I need to get that fixed. I need to get my chaos resistance fixed. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff that I need to do. I do have some extra items. I'll be able to swap out these chaos resistance rings, which do have some fire resist and a little bit of other whatever on here, some cold. These came from a different build. I'll be able to start. Oh, I can actually use this now. Oh, that changes things considerably. That changes things considerably. I don't know that I can get all red on the. Oh, I did. Oh, yes. That I was saving for my other Bone Shatter build, but now I can just swap all this stuff in here, and there we go. So now we're looking at a little bit more damage, a little bit more everything. Awesome. Sweet. And I need armor on this build. So this build uses a lot of armor. And we have 90% physical damage reduction, 40,000 armor. If we kick on this thing, we're getting 50,000. I need to get some other stuff I need to get equipped in here too. Looks like my resistances went up. Why did that go up? Ooh. Oh, because I have fire and lightning on here. I was thinking it was the armor. And yeah, okay. Totally missed out that that came from the armor. All right, so that smoothed all my resistances out, basically. So anyway, this is my new in-progress build. I wanted to check it out and see what it was. Basically, the only unique that I really needed to get this kicked off was this. Now, the build goes further with adorned jewels and some other timeless jewels and stuff like that. So I've got some work cut out for me if I want to take this any further than where it's at. I wanted to try and check it out. This actually does, so for the record, if I go in here and I grab Bone Shatter, now this is not necessarily the most ideal thing. That's not the Bone Shatter I was using. This is the Bone Shatter I was using. So this is a level 19 Bone Shatter of Carnage. It's a little bit higher level, I guess, for sure, whereas this is only level 16. But this one adds 101 to 152 attack. This one adds 142. Yeah, I guess maybe it's the level that makes it different. Like, this actually does a lot more damage than this Bone Shatter, but now that I'm looking at it, it's probably going to be the level of it. So anyway, I've got some work to do on this, but this is a build I put together the other day, and in the process of doing this, I got some other things to pop. So this build led to getting a new 6-link for my Caustic Arrow build, so let me show you that real quick. So like I said, I was running around, I got an upgraded version of my bow, and I think I kept my old bow, which is this one here. So this is what I had, was just basically a 5-link, and it was 20% quality, a little bit of elemental damage, which I don't think I can use on this build, but I needed it for the +2 levels of socketed bow gems. So this is what I had before, and what I have now, I actually rolled the +2 level of socketed bow gems while I was trying to hit the chaos damage. I ran a whatever essence gives you chaos damage. I rolled that, it hit this, like the second try, it hit this for +2 level of socketed bow gems, and that is way better than what I had before. So we're doing 713 to 1839 chaos. So and it's a 6-link. So whatever combination of things, whether it's the damage or whatever, they both had the socketed bow gems. But I don't know if it's just because this one's 6-link that I'm now seeing more damage or whatever. But this went up a decent bit. I need to POB it and see how much it went up. But I've not really played this build a whole lot since. I did run a little bit with it, and since I got this 6-link, I started running Heist, which means I got something for my next build. Which brings us to the armor stacker that I was wanting to work on. I got the replica Dream Feather from Heist. I don't know if this is rolled very good or not. I don't care. I've got one, and I can start building this. Now, I also have the Calm Spirit, I have the Immortal Flesh, and I have the March of the Legion. So I've got a whole bunch of uniques ready to go. I got some ruby rings. I think they're supposed to be for like resistances and stuff. I'll worry about that in a while once I get things more done. I need the Alpha's Howl over here, and I need the Doriani's Prototype down here. So I've got 2 more uniques to look for. Then I got to figure out all the flasks and the coloring and all the gems and everything that I need for this. I did get the Aegis Aurora in the last video. I showed this off, and I was happy about it. The problem is, when I was working on that other Bone Shatter build, when you come through the campaign, I had the option of corrupting something with that corruption altar, and I threw this in there without thinking about it and didn't realize that as soon as I corrupted this, I cannot change the color of the sockets. I cannot link it or anything. I was like, man, that is so stupid. So I can do quality. That's the color of the sockets. Like, I don't have the one to change the link. So I got to farm up some, either I have to find another one of these, which may not happen, or I have to figure out a way of getting this linked, which is, I burned out the currency that takes to try to link it. I just couldn't get it linked. I need this 3 linked, and then I'll be good. And then I also need a couple of pieces of armor. The other thing is, I started regret orbing things off. So I've got a lot of stuff to regret orb off. I can't remember if I needed this branch over here. I do need this little section here, so I left some of this alone. I think we come off of either here. I don't remember if we come off of this node down into this or whatever, but I want to remove as much as I can from this and then get whatever few points I need back into it. I also think I needed to come back into sovereignty, so I need to bring all this off. But the problem is I have to come up into here and I have to come up over into here and down. But then I need to remove a whole bunch of stuff off of this thing. And I got some tattoos on here, which I don't know if that's going to take extra things to remove. But this was that exsanguinate build, so it is basically not going to do anything from this point forward. The cool thing is, no matter what happens, I do have a good chunk of the gear that I need. I've got a few more things to get and a lot of regret orbs and stuff like that. So if I don't get any further with this, I've at least got this when we hit standard, or when this goes back to just regular SSF when the league's over. I'll have all that currency to apply to this and regret orb off some stuff. Like I got to regret orb off some of my ascendancy and everything. And I have a big chunk of the gear. The replica Dream Feather is what gets this thing off the ground. I don't know about any of the other jewels and stuff that I need, but I know this one I needed because this gives you, actually it might be the Doriani's. There's something, this thing uses something about this because it's the replica Dream Feather. It stacks 1% increased attack damage per 450 armor. So you really want to stack armor on this so that this thing gets damage. And then I think the Doriani's, one of those does something with lightning, and you basically stack a ton of lightning and then you give the enemies 0 lightning resistance or something like that. I can't remember how all this goes together. It's been a long time since I watched the video, or several videos that talk about this, but I have the POB I can look at and I can start bringing pieces together and get this thing done. I'm just excited to have the Dream Feather, the replica Dream Feather, and to be able to take this forward. Ideally I could have, or optionally, I guess optionally would be the word. If I can go farm up a second replica Dream Feather, I could swap out the Aegis Aurora and use that instead. But I'm still in the same boat of needing the Alpha Howl and the Doriani's prototype. So I'll be working on those. So that's kind of about it. I do have a little bit with my regular Bone Shatter build, so let me come back with that. So on this is my normal Bone Shatter build. On this one, I actually took out that cluster jewel setup that I had, and I started going into this section. I don't think we've talked about this since I changed it, but I went over into all this endurance charge stuff, and I picked up this, I moved one of my jewel sockets over to here. We've got +1 to max endurance charges, and then I picked up this stuff over here for this jewel socket and some more endurance stuff over here. I wanted to see how it did. I think my damage actually went up slightly with this. I went from maybe 1.2 million to 1.6 million or something like that. I wanted to see how this went. The problem is now I need to get back into that. I need to get back into this jewel socket area because my mana reservation sucks and I'm constantly out of mana. It's pretty bad. I have some mana regen and some leech in here somewhere. Like I got this leech over here and I've got a little bit of regen somewhere in this whole mess somewhere, but I really need to get that back up. I would be tempted to take off this spell suppression, maybe, and put that over here so I could get the mana reservation efficiency back up a little bit. I don't know. It's working as it is right now, and I've actually started to level up. I don't know if I'm going to get level 96, but I've started to go to level 96, so I'll see what that does. I've been using this for a lot of different things. I don't think I've got any more bossing down. I think this is pretty much where I was, the same stuff down. But like I stacked this up with Rogue Exiles, Legion Encounter, the quantity, whatever this does, whatever the Sacrifice at Dawn. And then I was going to run a bunch of these township maps. These are just tier 1s. They're qualitied up all the way, and they're running rare. And I was running my Essence, Delirium, and Beyond setup. This was so that I could work up some uniques, and that's how I got that unique staff for that other build, was running this. I think I also made some other changes in here too. So I've got Precision and Arrogance over here. I feel like I think I talked about this in the last video. I've got Ancestral Protector, Ancestral War Chief, multiple totems, and MAME support up here on my axe. I switched back to Impale support. I think I made that change, but I think there was something else. And this might have been in the last video, but these gloves, I put on +1 to level of socketed AoE gems. So War Banner, Determination, Pride, and Berserk doesn't matter, but the actual aura versions on here are getting +1 to their gems, so that's cool. And then this is my cast 1 damage taken setup. I actually bumped this up a little bit, so this is level 3. So it actually takes 661 damage to trigger these things, which let me pull up vulnerability to level 7 and molten shell to level 11. I thought I made some other change, which might be up here. I put close combat onto leap slam. That might be what change I made. I think I took blood rage out. I think that was what I did, was pulled that off. And that might be about it. I did use these flasks on that other Bone Shatter build for a minute, but I need to get these. I need to get the equivalent of these built for that other build. And I don't even know if I have the currency to do it. Probably not enough of these instilling orbs, but I should be able to work something out, if maybe trading some of this stuff over. So when I looked at that other Bone Shatter build, I thought very seriously about taking this build and regret orbing a bunch of stuff off, which would have, I think I showed the build tree for the other one, I would have basically had to regret orb off all of this on this side, a good chunk of this stuff here, and a bunch of this to come up this way up here to go into, what did we go into, counterweight up here and stuff like that. I looked at this and I thought, you know what? I would already have all of the ascendancy that I needed. I would have a lot of this stuff, a decent chunk of this built, but then I'd have to regret orb off I thought about it for a second. It would mean changing all of my gear around and just kind of going into an unknown build. So I weighed that option and I thought that's going to be a very expensive way to do it versus just starting a new character. Now I know I've still got that one Detonate Dead build that's kind of sitting off in the campaign somewhere. I don't even remember where it's at. I think that thing's level 50, but I was more excited to try out a Bone Shatter of Carnage build and see what people were doing with that. And I don't even remember what the damage is. The damage on that is nowhere near this, but this is also a level 95 with a lot better gear on. And yeah, we're pushing a level 84 axe that's been fairly well, sort of decently crafted. And this is getting 23,000 to 35,000. I think that was like, what, 3,200 or something like that. Like, it was nowhere near this. But I need to work on that. That's only level 68, 69, somewhere in there. Nice. But I decided ultimately not to scrap this build. I did that last league and I regretted it because I parted this out for my Exsanguinate build test last league, and then I regretted not having this to look back on. So I want to leave this Bone Shatter build the way it is. I decided to, that way I've got something as a currency builder. My Caustic Arrow build is nice and all, but it's not really a currency getter. I can't run as hard a content as I can with this, and I would rather keep pushing this forward, maybe try to get to level 96, 97, maybe push to 100. I don't know. It's going to take a while. But I've got another Bone Shatter build, and of course there's only so much time in the day. I really need to start working on some other things. I want to start, and even before that other Bone Shatter build, I want to get into these the timeless emblems and see if I can get any timeless stuff out of there. I need to work on the Maven fight. I've got all these other big boss fights to kind of work on. So, I mean, there's so much else to do. I just wanted to stop and tinker with that other Bone Shatter build and see what I could do with that. But anyway, lots of progress this week. Got a new bow for Caustic Arrow, which has definitely made it better. Got the replica Dream Feather, which is huge. That's not as uncommon a drop as I thought, but it gets my armor stacker moving forward. I've got another Bone Shatter build to play with and see because I actually spent a lot of time with Bone Shatter of Carnage last league with that Slayer build version of it. And you can actually pump the attack speed up. You don't necessarily have to worry about trauma stacks as much. And the one thing that build has going for it over this one is it's got a lot of regen and a lot of ability to absorb damage. So once I get that one a little bit better, it may be able to tank a lot of damage, and you put a trauma gem on there, trauma support gem on for that Bone Shatter of Carnage. So you're still effectively doing trauma, but it's just on that other gems. So I kind of want to see how that goes. And that's really why I wanted to start another build. And then I've got this build here. So I can keep playing the end game while I tinker. You know, I can move back and forth between the two, maybe run some lower level stuff with that other build. Once it comes up to damage levels, level it up, and then get it to where it runs decently. And then I can swap back and forth, just see which one I like better. That wasn't too bad. Like I said, that one unique staff is not too hard to get. The thing is, none of this is unique. None of this Bone Shatter build is unique. Everything in here is stuff that I get as a drop or craft, you know, well, basically all crafted, but none of this requires a unique versus that other Bone Shatter that takes Bone Shatter of Carnage, which you have to get as a luck of the draw, and then a unique plus whatever other jewels and stuff you need with it. So I don't regret trying that build, and I definitely don't regret leaving this build alone, because I don't want to part this one out and break it and lose stuff. I think that was a big mistake I made last league. So anyway, a lot of good progress this week, and hopefully we get a lot more good progress next week. But anyway, that will do it for this video. We will catch you on the next one. Take care.